Eric Davis with Let's Chop It Up. This is the space for real men, real conversation, real results. If you're a man and you've been carrying a lot and have no place to unpack it, no place to talk about it, then you are in the right place. Some men are taught to provide, protect, and perform, but they don't always process what they're carrying. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Why men struggle with vulnerability. We want to deal with men who protect. We're always making sure that everybody else around us is okay. We're always covering everybody else around us. We're always making sure that those around us have what they need. And that's what we're designed to do. Then we have those that provide. Well, we all do all those things, but we make sure that everybody around us is taken care of financially, emotionally, mentally. We're making sure we're touching on everybody, even if we're not okay. Those that are around us are okay. You know, we have the saying, if everybody else is good, then I'm good. I heard someone say, if I'm sleeping in a car and everybody else has somewhere to sleep, then I'm good, I'm okay. And that's not where we need to be, all right? And then we have those that perform. Those that put on a facade, that always have to be on all the time, that have to make sure that nobody can see their flaws, that nobody can see their hurt, that nobody can see their pain, nobody can see their struggle. This is the place for you. We want to deal with that on today. You're not allowing yourself to be vulnerable. One of the viewers, I appreciate him coming on, he was saying that's what pushes us to be men and be on. But we got to find time to have a safe space. We got to find time to unwind. We got to find time to let our virtual hair down, all right? And just be in the midst of who you are and being confident that what you're doing is enough, all right? So we want to make sure that we touch on all three of those things as men: perform, provide, and protect. We do all those things, but we want to make sure that we are taking time, the necessary time, to be healthy, all right? Because there's only one you. So we want to make sure that we are taking the time to be vulnerable enough to answer our own questions. Am I doing enough? Because we can't start that process until you look in the mirror. Am I doing enough? And the fact of the matter is, you're probably doing enough. You just put so much weight on yourself that you caused yourself some unnecessary struggle. And we're going to deal with that on today. We hear all of the phrases. Vulnerability sounds good in theory. You know, open up. Let me know what you're feeling. How do you feel? But listen, you have to understand that vulnerability does not feel like you're empowered. Empowered as men, we are empowered. All right? And sometimes feel as a sign of weakness. That's the way we are wired as men. You got to understand that. Sometimes it feels like we are helpless and feel powerless when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, because we don't have control now of what we just put out. Now we open ourselves up to be ridiculed, laughed at, mocked, thought less than, minimized, if I can say. And for God's sake, don't have it come back up in a conversation or come back up in an argument. Then we completely will shut down. So you might ask, well, what happens when that happens to a man? Well, we adjust, we pivot. We don't lie. We guard ourselves. And guarding is not lying, is not deceiving, it's protection. And protection is what we do. We protect ourselves. Once we feel cornered, once we feel trapped, we protect ourselves. And there's a difference. All right, there's a difference. Guarding is not deception. All right, guarding is protecting ourselves from hurt, from ridicule, like I said earlier. It's all about protecting ourselves, guarding ourselves when we have allowed ourselves to be vulnerable. You can be strong and empowered to walk in any room you go in. But the worst thing to be, you're alone and there's silence. Because most men Don't stop feeling. We don't stop feeling. We just stop exposing ourselves to you. We stop letting you in. We stop giving you access and opportunity to us because we have been burned. So I need you to understand that on tonight. Gotta make sure that we guard ourselves even when we don't feel like it. Most men we never talk about. Protection over time slowly turns into isolation. And we tell ourselves, I'm fine, I'll handle it. We don't need to talk about it. It feels controlled. Listen, man, if you continue down this path, eventually you're going to look around and realize no one really knows who you are. You can be strong in every room you walk into and still feel alone. Like I said earlier, you can still feel alone when it's silent. Isolation is key to your downfall. Isolation doesn't always feel good. It starts to feel normal. And that's the danger that we're talking about. Let's be clear on something. Vulnerability does not mean you tell everyone your business because they are not equipped to handle you or what you're dealing with. Everybody's not equipped to do that. You want people that you can trust, that you can be in a safe space, that have your best interests at heart. Because when you put yourself out there, now you run the risk of being hurt or being damaged. And we carry enough weight as it is, and we don't need to add anything onto ourselves because we trusted somebody with ourselves, and that person didn't value us enough to be discreet about what we tell them, what we say. Vulnerability means being real with the right people in the right spaces at the right time in the right place. All right? You have to manage who you open yourself up to. It's called discernment. All right? We got to have that when we're talking about being vulnerable. And you can watch people. They'll tell on themselves, something I learned years ago in traveling with my pastor. You don't have to sit and talk about it in conversation. You don't have to be in conversation. All you have to do is listen. And people will tell on themselves. You will know who you can and cannot be vulnerable with. You will know who you can open up to or who you need to keep your mouth closed to. All right? When I'm talking about dudes, I ain't talking about women. I'm talking about guys. All right? The worst thing you can be is a messy man. All right? I say it all the time. The worst thing you can be is a messy man because you don't want to put yourself out there to ridicule and gossip. Not everybody deserves access to you, deserves access to your emotional, deserves access to your heart. Not everybody deserves access to that. I need you to hear me. Strength is controlled honesty, all right? Strength is not a weak emotion. It's controlled honesty. And I need you to get that on today. Everybody does not deserve access to you. Boundaries protect your vulnerability. They don't block it. They protect it. So when the right people come in, you're able to open up when you see and listen and hear who you can be open with. Then you let those guards down. You let those boundaries down. You don't have to be on with those people. Those what those boundaries are for, to block out those who don't need to have access to you. Now, we're going to deal with some questions. We call this section, we chopping it up, all right? These are real questions that may come from DMs, they may come from comments, but they do come from actual persons who follow, comment, or just share. And so the question on this week is, how do I know if it's safe to open up? How do I know? We talked about it earlier. Guarding yourself until you have found those who you can be safe and vulnerable with. Safety is not declared, it is demonstrated. People have to demonstrate that they're safe for you to talk to, that they're safe for you to open up to. Simply meaning, be careful, watch, pray about who you allow in your space. Now listen, you can start with something small. You don't have to give them your deepest thought that you're dealing with, or the thing that's weighing on you the most. Give them something small and see how they react to it. See how they keep it private. See if it ever comes back up. If you hear from somebody else, you know who you said it to. All right? Dealt with that situation, and I had to share with a brother years ago, and we were talking, and I said, listen, if you and your person that you're committed to, if you're talking negatively about that person and it gets back to them, you can't be upset because you're the one who started the conversation. So in that sense, that person could not be safe with you. And that's the person that you were committed to. That's the example that we're talking about. All right? Being able to be safe in your relationships. If you don't feel safe, brothers, we don't feel safe, then we need to change the environment that we're in. Everybody does not grow with us. Everybody's not going to go with us. All right? But I need you to understand that you gotta make sure that you have the environment where you can be vulnerable, where you can let yourself go, where you can sit down. And if something is weighing on you, talk to somebody and get that thing off of you. All right? We don't want to keep carrying negative weight. We don't want to keep carrying unnecessary baggage, unnecessary weight. The way to be vulnerable, we gotta communicate. We gotta have people in our lives, people around us that will allow us to empty out. All right? Empty out. And I need you to understand, consistency builds safety. Consistency builds safety. Time builds safety. And the big one, character definitely builds safety. Character is what you do when no one else is around. All right? So you need to consistency, time, and character build safety. Vulnerability grows in safe soil. All right? Need you to get that. When you can be vulnerable to somebody who you feel is safe, then you grow in confidence in that person. All right? So that's what we mean by vulnerability grows in safe soil. All right, fellas. So here's the question I have. Who feels safe enough? I'm going to say this slowly. Who feels safe enough to hear the real version of you? If it's no one, you need to look at that and question that. If it's everyone, you need to rethink everything that you got going on. All right, check your boundaries if it's everyone. Real vulnerability requires wisdom. Real vulnerability requires wisdom, all right? So I need you to get that on this evening. So if this conversation resonated with you, I need you to subscribe, like, comment, share this with a brother who needs it. Make sure that you get this out there. We appreciate you supporting us. I'm Eric Davis with Let's Chop It Up. Real men, real conversations. We getting real results. Till the next time.